Why don't you have what you want? Take two for those of you who may have joined me live because my audio was off on the first one. Okay. Why don't you have what you want? This is exactly what I'm going over right now with a new CH that I'm training. So she can get out there and assist others in revealing who they are. Because when you're better, the world is better. So why don't you have what you want? Well, I'm going to give you four reasons, and we're going to go from simple to complex. The first one is you're conditioned not to have it. Say what? Yes, over 80% of what you believe you can have in life was accepted by age 8. Not based on your brilliance and what you could actually produce once you became mature, but based on what others believed about you and the circumstances that you were in with them. And now we've got a challenge because there was something that you needed whenever you were growing up that wasn't available to you. And so your very powerful mind made that mean that you couldn't have it. It was there for everybody else, but not you. And you will continue to seek out people, places, and things that reinforce that belief, reinforce that conditioning and programming. And that's on the simple end. Okay, what's the second one? Moving up the scale. You've been taught to solve problems instead of designing a life. What's the difference between the two of them? Solving problems says, this is what I need to get the approval, to get the acceptance, to get the grade from those outside of me. Designing my life says, what strengths, talents, and abilities do I possess that needs to be called forth for the experience that I want to have, the desires I want to turn into reality. Solving problems is where you were conditioned to hand or transfer your authority and your power over to someone else. I mean, first you had to make your family happy and your babysitters happy. And then after that, you started going to school. And now it was transferred to your teachers. You had to make them happy with the problems that you solved before you'd get passed on to the next grade. And then after that, it was the friends that you were developing had to be what they needed you to be for them to be okay and accept you into the group. After that, then it was love interests. After that, higher education, your bosses, your community. Remember, you were conditioned not to have something, and now we've increased that complexity by saying you've got to continue to solve problems for others to give you the stamp of approval instead of designing your life and bringing yourself out to what it is that you want to experience. You will never outperform your inner identity. These are the four things that lead to that. Number one, your conditioning. You were conditioned not to have what you needed to bring yourself out at your very best. And then after that, you were taught to solve problems, not design a life, and solving problems for someone else to feel okay about what they were having. And then you would get the stamp of approval to move forward based on what they wanted you to be. Number three, why you don't have what you want, how that inner identity was created. You were then taught to rely on something outside of you to make it okay. So others expected more from you, and you had to fulfill it to be able to move to the next level. And you were conditioned not to have something that was going to bring you out at your very best. So now you will look for activities that will either try to get you the approval of others or will dampen down the pain when you don't get the approval. So you're going to work too much. You're going to give too much. You're going to love inappropriately. You're going to offer assistance to others too much. You're going to do too much in order to earn their approval, which you're never going to get in a way that is going to finally confirm who you really are, because you've been conditioned to actually deny that part of you. And so now you're going to have to rely on something outside of you to make you feel okay when you don't get what it is that you need. And this is when your dysfunctional coping habits show up. Fight, flight, or freeze. whatever you're doing, you're in one of these when it's dysfunctional. Fight is when you decide to take it on because you think maybe you might be able to kick its butt. So you're always angry, you're always hollering, you're always out there, larger than life. Or maybe you're fleeing. You flee when you feel like, oh, I can't do this. It's going to overwhelm me. And so you flee to food. You flee to watching too much TV, on social media, but you can be on social media too much where you wind up tipping to the other side of fighting because, oh, you're going to prove to others how they're wrong. Like you're really going to influence anybody like that. We all know it. And yet these are activities you will engage in when you've been taught to rely on something outside of you to make you okay that won't. Those people will disappoint you, and now you've got to do something to distract yourself. All because you were taught to solve problems instead of designing a life, which the core of that was there was something you needed when you were maturing and you couldn't have it, and you made it mean that you would never get it. And then the very last one, which brings all of these together. It is the most complex out of all of them. Your identity, and your identity is made up of what you focus on, how you feel when you focus on something, and then the actions you take of either let's fight it, let's flee, or you're just going to be completely stuck and struggling. You freeze. You freeze when you don't think you can fight and you don't think you can get away from it. You're stuck in one place. So your identity is not congruent with your desired end results. Your identity is not harmonious with the goals that you've set for yourself. In fact, your very identity contradicts what you want to have in life. And again, an identity is made up of focus. But you focus on what you believe you can have. And that was the very first thing that we covered. You've been conditioned you can't have it. So you're going to focus on all the things that you can't have. And then that's going to lead to the emotions. And you have two emotional states. You either have pain avoidance or you have progress producing. So you're going to be in emotional states. They're either going to be, what can I do to get away from this? How can I dampen it down? Or you're going to be in emotional states of progress moving forward. It's not comfortable, but there's a difference between being uncomfortable and being in pain. You're in pain when you fight, flight, or freeze. Progress, which is uncomfortable, means you're discovering the strengths, talents, and abilities you already possess. And then that leads to your actions. You have three types of actions: tension avoiding, pleasure producing, or goal achieving. Tension avoiding is when you let go of the stress, just, oh, I'm going to zone out for a little bit. And about 10% of your day needs to be tension avoiding. Unfortunately, for the masses, it's anywhere between 60 and 80% of their day. They're fighting, they're flighting, or they're freezing. Pleasure producing is when you give yourself a pat on the back. It's when you engage in an activity that feels good right away. Maybe your favorite TV show. Maybe you're on social media because you're checking out the pictures of your son and daughter-in-law who just got back from vacation. Yeah, that was me. Okay, so I'm seeing the pictures that they posted from vacation. It's an immediate feel good, but only 10% of your day should be that. If you're doing more than 10%, then you're actually going into tension avoiding. And then there's goal achieving. So if 10% of our day should be tension relieving and 10% of our day should be pleasure producing, what's the other 80%? Goal achieving. That's when you're uncomfortable because you're pushing yourself, you're stretching yourself, you're discovering something new, not where it's painful, but in a way that brings you out your brilliance. Most people, when they set a goal, they'll write it down. They will maybe create a vision board. They'll have their affirmations that they want to chant. None of that addresses the very powerful part of your mind known as the subconscious, because the subconscious is what holds your beliefs. It's what regulates your emotions. And then that determines the type of actions you'll take. None of that addresses the subconscious, which was conditioned 80% by age 8. So when you have a subconscious challenge, you need a subconscious solution. That's what I'm going to share with you today. This typically is only offered once a year. In fact, it's actually been 2 years since I've offered it. I have a course called Life and Business Mastery through Self-Hypnosis. It teaches you how to make the upgrades to your identity, how to upgrade the conditioning. You can have it, how to move from solving problems into designing a life, how to rely on those triggers outside of you that are already in place, but you give them different meaning. You give them meaning that you're moving forward into progress. And that way, your identity, your focus, your feelings, and your actions are congruent with your end results. It teaches you how to do this on your own. It's actually a mini course of the master course I teach someone when they become certified. No, you won't be able to do this for others through this course, but you will be able to begin to get the results of the life that you want to live based on your brilliance, not the pain avoidance you went through when you were younger. And I'm giving you the ability to save 50% on the course. That only happens at, well, like I said earlier, once a year. It's actually been 2 or 3 years since I've done this. Okay. So this is what you do. You go to drewdawnferguson.com/sh. That means self-hypnosis. So drewdawnferguson.com/sh. You're going to see what the course offers you as far as how to begin to make those identity upgrades and the processes and system that you'll be taught in order to make it faster, quicker, and easier for you. Whenever you hit, yes, I want this, it'll take you to the checkout page. There'll be a place for a coupon code. Put in the word, all one word, podcast, because I'm rewarding you guys. You show up. You want to know how to improve the quality of your life. Let's take it further. Put in podcast, hit apply. That's going to give you a 50% savings. And then there's going to be one other bonus. If you decide that you want to work with me, I will give you, let's see, through the end of August, to where if you invest in this virtual training online, you have several hours. It's pretty intensive of videos, as well as your success manuals to go along with it, as well as hypnosis sessions I'm doing with you during the training. And you'll have instant access to it. I will take what you invested in this course and I will apply it towards a private session with me. If you choose that you come up against something while you're doing the course that you feel like you can't do on your own, I'll apply your investment in the course towards a private session with me. And I will give you the ability to do that through the end of August. But here's something you want to know. Magnificent Monday Mindset. That's what we're doing today. It is Monday, July 13th. This course is only going to be at a 50% savings through this Friday. What's that date? I think that date, yeah, that's going to be the 17th. Through July 17th, 2020, you can save 50% off this course. But then after that, it goes away. Why? Because the subconscious mind operates when there's urgency. And so we need to create urgency that your dreams will no longer be denied, that you will no longer continue to build a life based on solving problems. Instead, you're going to design it by bringing you out at your very best, but you don't even know what you're capable of. You don't even know what potential is there waiting to be activated because you're going by the conditioning of what someone else wanted life to be and how you had to fit into it. I want to make it as easy as possible for you to say yes to your next level of success. Podcast is your coupon code. And if you decide that you need to work with me, I'll credit you for it. Okay. You will never outperform your inner identity. So you have to have the actions that are goal achieving, but the triggers that have been turning you on in a negative way are not going to go away. So we have to have those triggers actually turn on emotions of progress that will continue to reinforce your focus on your upgraded belief that you are worthy, that you're deserving, that you're capable, and you will prove it. You can create the life you desire. I'm here to assist you with that. You'll never outperform your inner identity. Let's upgrade your confidence, your esteem, and your worth starting today. So until we get together again, blessings on your brilliance and how you're making the world better because you're